Donald Trump is certainly no saint. Anybody who claims the man is perfect, you need to read or watch more. I don't know. Look, I'm of the camp of the Orange Man is not that bad. I think there's a lot of things that are bad about him. The way he's changed the candor of our presidency, it's not the most important thing. And I think it's kind of absurd that people are like, the character of the presidency and like the status of it has been besmirched by the Orange Man. I'm like, yeah, it's fair, but is it really the worst thing in the world? I'll tell you this. Trump has done some bad things. The Washington Post has compiled a list. I'm actually going to refute some of these things. I also want to make sure I point out as a disclaimer. We're wrapping up the 2010s, and I thought it would be fun to do two segments. This segment is highlighting the negative view of Trump from the Washington Post. I want to stress, I'm not going to independently go through all of the nuances and context of each claim. So it's very likely, as the media does, they take Trump out of context to try and smear him. But I have looked through some of these things, and I can already see that, yes, they're kind of smearing him for stupid things. But rest assured, the next segment I will do is about the crazy PC left, and I thought it would be fair to do these two segments as sort of a critical, uncritical view as we end this decade. And we're going to get started with the Orange Man is bad. Now listen, come on, man. It's so insane. Let me say this as we wrap up this decade. Trump has got his faults. He needs to be criticized for doing a lot of things. If you don't criticize him, he goes off on, if you don't criticize people, they'll falter. They'll go onto a bad track. Criticism can be constructive, even if it's sometimes meant to just be negative. However, the way the media talks about this guy, you'd think he was a vampire or some kind of Frankenstein monster with claws who was going around crushing the skulls of babies. Calm down. He's just boorish. I love that word too because people have started commenting on it, saying they wish he was more boorish. Trump is just a bad attitude. That's like the worst thing they could ever say about him. But they do have a list, and we should read it. Mark A. Thiessen writes, in my last column, I offered my list of the 10 best things Trump did in 2019. Okay, I'll be fair. I'll pull that up too. Although I wasn't trying to do that, I think it's fair to do. Here are the 10 worst things. Let's read these. He ridiculously claimed our country is full. Ooh, I love this one. We are not full by a long shot, thanks to Trump's economic success. We have well over 1 million more job openings than unemployed workers to fill them. If Trump wants to keep this strong economy going, he needs more workers, and that means he needs more immigrants. No, it doesn't. Supply and demand. The economy does well when the demand for jobs is higher than the supply of workers. When the supply of workers is growing and the demand is shrinking, then you have market competition, salaries go down, people can buy less. So long as there are more job openings, yes, we do need to fill those. Otherwise, there will be some stagnation. Salaries will go up. Let me explain it to you. Is this one of the worst things Trump has said? No. If there's 1 million job openings and no workers, that means poaching will begin occurring. And people will go to someone and say, I need you to work this job. And they'll say, I already have a job. Can I give you a 10% bump in pay? And they say, yes. Then their boss will say, no, don't leave. I can't have you leave. And they'll offer more. This means the advantage is on the worker. So long as the demand for jobs is higher, poaching and wage competition occurs, that's a good thing. So no, we don't want to get to a point where we fill every job and then are just stagnant. That doesn't make sense. We do want to fill these jobs to allow companies to grow, but it also means as long as there are, I'll say it again, more demand for jobs than there are people who can work them, it's good for everybody. Number 9. Okay, that was 10. He used anti-Semitic tropes to attack his enemies. Trump was absolutely right to call out Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib for their anti-Semitism. Bravo, good sir, he was right. Including the charge that Israel supporters in Congress are disloyal to the U.S. But then Trump declared that, quote, any Jewish people that vote for a Democrat show great disloyalty, using the very same anti-Semitic trope that got Omar and Tlaib in trouble in the first place. That is not the same trope by any stretch of the imagination. Trump was talking about support for Israel, and he was criticizing those who are disloyal to or voting for Democrat because they're not particularly pro-Israel. It's not the same by any stretch of the imagination, but I am still critical of it. It is not the same because what Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib are doing are much more ridiculous. What Trump is doing is also bad. If somebody wants to vote Democrat and don't want to support what Israel is doing, they're allowed to do so. That's not disloyalty. And I think Trump should be criticized for saying that. But to act like it's on par, listen. What the left wing has is this weird anti-Semitic conspiracy nonsense. What Trump is doing is trying to support Israel. You shouldn't blame someone as disloyal because they're critical of Israel. You can be critical of Israel. That's the difference. Criticizing Trump here is because you're allowed to be critical of Israel. Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar have said things that were not about Israel, like it's all about the Benjamins and stuff like that. Okay, so come on, let's not act like it's the same. But yes, Trump should be criticized, in my opinion. He said the Soviet Union was right to invade Afghanistan and congratulated China on the 70th anniversary of the communist takeover. I'm going to stop right here. Trump is playing a game, okay? He's playing diplomacy. This is ridiculous. Do I agree with Trump? Do I like that he said? No, of course not. But you also got to understand, Trump doesn't want to start a war, so he's got to give a little to get a little, which brings me to the next point. He lost a needless government shutdown fight. They go on to say that he wanted, he shut down the government over $5.7 billion and ended up getting $1.38 billion. He would have had if he had just gone along with a bipartisan deal. Trump went for a big ask. I don't care. I really don't care. I mean, I guess there are people who are, who lost pay. Pretty much everyone gets paid for their work. The shutdown is dumb. I think it was dumb. And he ended up losing out. But what Trump tried to pull off was a big ask, saying, I want this much, and they walk it back. Would he have gotten it? Well, he says he would have gotten it anyway. I think Trump ended up getting more than he expected, but he ended up pulling funds from other areas anyway, so it's not like he lost the fight. Trump does this. The big ask is a common sales technique. You say, I want $100, and they go, oh my God, that's too much money. Okay, fine, give me a 20. Say, oh, 20 is cheap. That's what Trump was aiming for. Seems like it didn't work out. I wouldn't call it needless. He was fighting for a reason, but by all means, we can criticize any politicians for doing things like this. He uses emergency authority to circumvent Congress on the border wall. After losing the shutdown fight, Trump uses National Emergency Act powers, which I'm pretty sure was deemed legal, so I don't know why you're criticizing him for that. Like, the money exists to be used for national security reasons. Trump wanted to use it. It's within his power. I could be wrong. Look, man, I'll tell you this. If you don't like that he did it, it's your opinion. That's fine. But I think it's like, there's very specific things that Trump has done to be called out for, like firing missiles into Syria. Okay, like that's fairly obvious. Or when he said something like, even though this journalist got killed by actors in Saudi Arabia, we got a big money deal coming in. Those are obvious, right? Whether or not Trump was gonna, pull funds like he was allowed to, it's his deal. But I am short for time because these segments are supposed to be short, so let's just jump through these. They say, he continued to spread the canard that the United States is fighting endless wars. Nah, I'm gonna stop you right there. He's right about that. We are fighting endless wars. How long have we been in Afghanistan and Iraq? Right now in Iraq, the embassy is under siege. I'm not playing that game, okay? Trump is right about that. Although I'm going to criticize Trump for not following through as much as he probably should because he's supplying weapons to Saudi Arabia because the money's so good. They said it themselves. He's supposed to pull the troops out of Syria. Well, now they're guarding, oil refineries and stuff. Listen, man, Trump is right when he says endless wars, but Trump isn't acting enough on them. Don't play this game with me, okay? What we're doing in the Middle East is insane. And some people right now were born after. I kid you not. Some people are born after we engage in this war, and now they're preparing to go and fight in that war. It is absolutely insane. He continued to attack dead people. Yeah, listen, I think it's fair to point out Trump is, what did I call him? Boorish? Trump's a bad character. He's absolutely a bad character. You're not going to be able to argue this one with me, okay? Trump speaks poorly of people. He said that this guy, John Dingell, could be looking up, referencing that he could be in hell, okay? Yeah, sorry, man. There's a level of respect that Trump doesn't have for a lot of people. Some people like it. They laugh about it. But I tell you this, man. If you're one of these Trump supporters who likes that Trump mocks people this way, let me just tell you. I travel the country. I've met with people. Most of the Trump people I've met, I was in an Uber in Dallas when I was going on the Glenn Beck show. The Uber driver said he liked Trump for his policies, but wish he wasn't such, a jerk. That's a fact. Trump would be doing so much better if he didn't say things like this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think so. Look at this one. He asked the president of Ukraine to investigate Hunter Biden. No. I'm glad he did. I think it's inappropriate. I'm saying I'm glad he did, not in the sense that I agree that it was right for him to do, but I'm pushing back on what he's saying here. Listen, man. Trump should have left it up to the Attorney General to make contact. He should have left it up to the ambassadors and whoever to make contact. He shouldn't have made it himself because it exposed too much risk. And now we can't get a legitimate investigation into what Hunter Biden was doing, taking up all that money. I don't care about what your reason is. And if you come to me and say Hunter Biden did nothing wrong, I will show you the door. Americans, the children of vice presidents, should not be going and getting fat cash from foreign governments because their daddy is the vice president. Sorry, no argument. I'd like to see an investigation. I like that Trump wants to investigate it, but Trump should have done a better job about it. He shouldn't have made that phone call. There are ways to deal with this, but Trump is he's so arrogant. Okay, you can call him overconfident, but he just has to do it himself. He can't just let his lieutenants, he can't let the system take care of it. I get it. There's a lot of corrupt actors. We've learned this from these reports, but he should not have done this. So I guess I'm technically in agreement, but you know what? I want to see the investigation. He invited the Taliban to Camp David. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I'm going to have to criticize this one. It's rough because we're really looking for a way to end this war in Afghanistan, but nah, I don't know about this. I don't know about this one. Camp David, man, of all places, it's a tough call. It really is. I want to be reasonable and say that Trump doing everything in his power to end the war in Afghanistan is a good thing, but you also got to think about the sanctity of the United States and what happened on 9/11 and what it means to invite these people here. So I'm going to have to be a milquetoast fence sitter on this one. What's the biggest? What's the worst? He gave Turkey a green light to invade Syria. Get out of here, dude. Get out of here. You know what, man? I'm glad I got to read this list. I'm not going to read the best things Trump has done. Sorry, you're all going to get mad at me now. Okay, I'll go through it really quickly. But Trump wanting to pull troops out of Syria is in no way giving Turkey the green light. Don't play these games. Our soldiers should not be in Syria. Period. I don't care about your stupid gas pipeline or Ukraine or whatever. But Mark was fair. He has a list of the 10 best things. He says he continued to deliver for forgotten Americans. Bravo, I agree. He implemented tighter work requirements for food stamps. Okay, yeah, right. He has got NATO allies to cough up more money for our collective security. That's a good thing. He stood with the people of Hong Kong, and that's serious because he's trying to negotiate this trade deal. His withdrawal from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty is delivering China and North Korea a strategic setback. Okay, don't know a lot about that. His maximum pressure campaign is crippling Iran. His tariffs threats force Mexico to crack down on illegal immigration. He delivered the biggest blow to Planned Parenthood in 3 decades. That's not a guy. I'm sorry. I'm pro-choice, guys. I don't see that as a good thing. I'm surprised the Washington Post actually said that. Why is that? What? Surprising from the Washington Post, but sure, I don't agree with that. I think there's a lot to hold, Planned Parenthood. There's a lot to criticize Planned Parenthood for, but it's a political opinion whether it was good or bad. I know there's a lot of conservatives watching who might think it's a good thing. Fine, you're allowed to. I know we're playing politics, but I'm just shocked to see Washington Post agree with it. I happen to be on the other side of that argument. He ordered the operation that killed Baghdadi. Bravo, good sir. I am not a war person, man, but Baghdadi was he's like a shadow of evil cast on this planet. You got to give him credit for that. Sometimes, I'm a very anti-death penalty person, but I believe in the safety of others, right? I believe in, you have the right to end someone if you're doing it to save other people. And this guy was bad, and he was leading bad people, and stopping this is a good thing. He has continued to appoint conservative judges at a record pace. I'm surprised this dude's saying that. Look, I'll concede Republicans won that fight. I guess technically if you're a Trump supporter, it's a good thing. I'm going to lean towards, for what I want, I would prefer moderate judges. Trump's appointed some pretty conservative judges, some with no experience. But look, I concede the loss. I absolutely do. And I think if Democrats were willing to do that, they might see themselves winning. When you're a sore loser, it just makes people not want to be around you. I will concede. I would prefer Planned Parenthood not be targeted. Though I understand there's moral conundrums here. It's tough. It really is. Some of the hardest ethical questions I've ever faced. Not perfect. Appointing conservative judges it's good in a lot of ways. I can concede that. And I can concede the Republicans, they earned this victory because they got Trump and Hillary Clinton was the bad actor. But progressives will need to push back on this one. I would not call that a good thing Trump has done. I would call that a defeat for what I would be looking for. But hey, there it is. I will wrap it up. I tried to go as quickly as possible. The next segment is about political correctness, wrapping up the decade. Stick around and I will see you very shortly.